and welcome to the announcement of National Centre for Writing's Early Career Awards 2021, a suite of 3 prizes for early career writers: the Desmond Elliott Prize, the Laura Kinsella Fellowship and the UEA New Forms Award. My name is Peggy Hughes and I'm the Programme Director at the National Centre for Writing, a unique literature house for the development and celebration of writing at the heart of Norwich, England's first UNESCO City of Literature. It's a true pleasure to work on these awards with the team here and to have you join us for the reveal of the winners of this year's 2021 edition. This has been an extraordinary year, which has nonetheless brought us into the orbit of many remarkable debut novels and writers, and we would like to start by thanking everyone who applied. There was much to admire and many tough decisions and difficult deliberations to get us to this point. At the heart of our suite of early career awards is the Desmond Elliott Prize, the country's most prestigious award for debut novels. The late Desmond Elliott, agent and publisher in whose name the prize was established, stipulated that the proceeds of his estate be invested in a charitable trust that would fund a literary award to help establish sustainable careers beyond the life of the first book. National Centre for Writing assumed delivery of the prize from the Trust in 2020 and, along with the £10,000 prize fund, added a bespoke package of support and opportunities via our year-round programme. Derek Owusu was our inaugural winner for his remarkable debut, That Reminds Me. Since then, Derek has been resident with us at our campus at Dragon Hall and delivered a new commission, part of our ongoing relationship with him and our commitment, and Desmond's, to supporting sustainable careers in what can be a tough and mercurial industry. The challenge of launching a debut book into the current climate has been very front of our minds. So this year, we've worked with 10 brilliant independent bookshops across the UK and Ireland to ensure the 10 long-listed books are reaching the hearts, hands and minds of new readers. We've been working with festival partners to provide platforms for these writers to have conversations with each other and with their audiences. And we'll be working with each of our winning writers to understand how we can support their careers and what happens next. We would like to thank the Desmond Elliott Charitable Trust for entrusting us with the prize, and Arts Council England for the funding that supports our early career free writing resource packs. These run in parallel to the awards programme and enable us to provide free advice to early career writers and to spread the impact and reach of literary prizes. Lisa McInerney is this year's Chair of Judges. Lisa was herself a Desmond Elliott Prize winner in 2016 for her electric first novel, The Glorious Heresies, published by John Murray. It also won the 2016 Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction, and her second novel, The Blood Miracles, won the 2018 RSL Encore Award. Chitra Ramaswamy is a journalist and author. Her first book, Expecting the Inner Life of Pregnancy, published by Saraband in April 2016, won the Saltire First Book Award and was shortlisted for the Polari Prize. Chitra writes mainly for The Guardian and is the restaurant critic for the Times Scottish edition. Simon Savage started the book blog Savage Reads in 2007 and moved into podcasts with The Readers before heading to YouTube in 2016. Simon has judged The Guardian's Not the Booker Prize, the Costa Book Awards debut novel, and has presented for Sky Arts Live. You can find out much more about all of our judges on our website, that's nationalcentreforwriting.org.uk. I will hand over to Lisa now to tell us more about this year's process.
Hello, I'm Lisa McInerney. I am the chair of the judging panel for 2021's Desmond Elliott Prize, and particularly honoured to be so because I was the winner of the 2016 Desmond Elliott Prize. This judging panel this year was special, not only because of the strength of this year's long list, but because of the challenging days we're currently all, I suppose, wading through. Challenging, but also marked, I think, by innovation and energy and enormous goodwill. And that was certainly the case for us during the judging process. Me and my fellow judges had to assess and confer and celebrate these 10 long-listed books remotely with all of the distractions that come with that. So you've got connectivity issues and interruptions, and of course not being able to do that one thing that readers live for, to get into the same room together, to raise a glass and argue till we're blue in the face about characters, about themes and about story. But we got there, and that is down to the kindness and the patience and the willingness to adapt, displayed not only by Simon and Chitra, but by the team at the National Centre for Writing, whose enthusiasm and warmth made us feel part of this very lovely thing, the awarding of the winner of the Desmond Elliott Prize for a stunning debut novel. So we knew what we were looking for. We wanted our winning novel to be conclusive evidence of the arrival of an assured and exciting new voice. We wanted it to be a celebration of language, of character and of life. We hoped that it would do what the very best novels do, that it would bring us into a world created through curiosity and empathy and defiance and joy, characterised by craft that would surprise us and thrill us and rouse us. I suppose we wanted to find a new favourite book. And there were strong contenders. There were books seeking answers from the past. There were books blurring the boundaries of, reimagining form. And in all cases, books that celebrated the unifying and I suppose subversive capacities of language. So here's Chitra now to introduce you to our beloved shortlisted books.
Hi, I'm Chitra Ramaswamy, and I was delighted to be a judge on the Desmond Elliott Prize this year. I'm a journalist and author, and my goodness, we just had such a difficult time coming up with a shortlist. It took many, many hours. We are extremely proud of our shortlist of 3 titles. So now I'm just going to briefly go through each book and talk about the myriad of reasons why we love them so much. So I think I'll begin with Ellie Williams, The Liar's Dictionary. This book is just the most playful, joyous, delightful read. I think all 3 of us agreed that it was just a sheer delight of a book. So British, so fundamentally British in its kind of humour and its kind of the playfulness, the fireworks of the prose. It's a book about language that delights in language, but its themes are so kind of serious and very, very modern. It's all about the kind of the use of language. It's about gender, sexuality. The kind of the impact of the past upon the present. It's one of these books that seems like a kind of effortless pleasure at one level, and indeed it is. But there's something very, very kind of serious and profound at its heart as well. And at its heart, it's a queer love story. So we love this book. Coming up next is Rebecca Watson, Little Scratch. Oh, just such a different book to The Liar's Dictionary. And actually, as an aside, I think that's a really powerful point to make, that our 3 shortlistees are so unbelievably different in what they're doing. But each one of them has written the kind of book that you just can't quite believe that it's their first, frankly. So Little Scratch is probably the most experimental book on the list. In fact, not probably, definitely. And I found it to be, it's a masterpiece. It's an absolute work of art. It is a book about trauma and about a single day in a contemporary woman's life, an urban life. And so in that way, it kind of follows in a sort of tradition of, Joyce and Isherwood's A Single Man, a novel about a day that kind of is also about, the kind of the everydayness of life. And I found it to be, we all did, a book that was just so unbelievably experimental in form, but just absolutely accessible in terms of its kind of directness of emotion, the way that we were able to just be straight inside the kind of the interiority of this woman's head and you've got kind of two things going on at the same time, literally two things going on the page of, you know, the kind of her internal experience and her external experience. And you can read this book from left to right, or you can read it from top to bottom. So it's doing amazing things visually and mentally and emotionally. It's a book about trauma, that's as much a book about survival. Deeply, deeply affecting and so ambitious. A thrilling debut. And finally, we've got A.K. Blakemore's The Manningtree Witches, which I think has been described as a modern day Wolf Hall meets The Favourite, which I think is quite brilliant. And, you know, I do not think that it is an overstatement to compare it to Mantell's trilogy. It is a absolutely exquisitely hewn novel. Her prose, Blakemore's a poet, and you can tell in every single line of this book, it's about the Essex witch trials, which in one way, we feel like we know that history. And yet Blakemore brings something so unbelievably contemporary and affecting. It's a really emotionally affecting novel, exquisitely written, that kind of at first sight, it seems a little more conventional than it actually is. But when you read it and reread it, it's a novel to reread because you can really luxuriate in it. You realise that it's doing something so kind of clever and compassionate. It's a very, very humane book with an amazing sense of place and pace. It's a brilliantly plotted novel. It's actually a really perfect novel, even for a writer who's, you know, 40 years into their career, yet alone writing their first novel. And it's filled with absolutely wonderful characters. Some of them are drawn from actual history and some of them are completely created. So what Blakemore's doing is kind of merging historical fact and fiction, and she does it with just the lightest touch. She wears her research so lightly to tell this absolutely riveting story, and it's got a really sort of deep moral purpose as well. And at the end, what you really feel is, you know, these women these were branded witches who were not permitted to live. She has actually sort of resurrected them, and she's brought them back to life through this beautifully textured and actually extremely witty and bawdy and funny and moving novel. So I think you can see just how passionate we all are about this shortlist and how excited we are to announce the winner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chitra. And so the moment has come for me to announce the winner of the 2021 Desmond Elliott Prize, a book that we agree heralds the arrival of a fully realised new voice, a writer of equal confidence and curiosity. This debut novel, does something astounding in taking events from the historical record and creating a living, breathing community out of that, taking in some cases only names and scant details, and out of these raw materials creating complex, very human characters with achingly recognisable desires and prejudices, people to root for, people to cry for, people to fear. There is something so ambitious and imaginative and generous in not only trying to recreate these dark events, but trying to understand them through people. And this novel does it all in inventive and graceful and dynamic language. It is a stunner. It is The Manningtree Witches by A.K. Blakemore. But you don't want to hear more from me. Let's go to our very, very worthy winner now. The author of The Manningtree Witches, A.K. Blakemore.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the National Centre for Writing and the judges of the Desmond Elliott Award, Lisa McInnery, Chitra Ramaswamy and Simon Savage, for choosing The Manningtree Witches. Such an honour to even be in contention alongside so many other brilliant and brave authors whose work I admire enormously. My agent Zoe Ross, who is fabulous and exactly the right amount of frightening, and her assistant Olivia Davis. My editor Carl Bradley, and everyone at Granta Books who did such a brilliant job easing Rebecca West into the world. Bella Lacey, Lamorna Elmer, Dan Bird, Noel Murphy, Christine Lowe, Mandy Woods, Sam Fulton, and Sarah Mosley. Also Joe Walker, who made it beautiful. It's been a dream, still is a dream, to work with all of you. Having a debut out in a pandemic is a slightly surreal experience, but has still been a wonderfully affirming and enjoyable one, thanks to booksellers all over the country who have supported The Manning Tree Witches into publication. Booksellers are the lifeblood of publishing and deserve a living wage and good working conditions always. The readers, of course, the bookstagrammers, booktubers, podcasters, and Goodreads reviewers. It has been such a joy to see my book in your hands and in your homes with your pets and your manicures. Final and largest thanks to my partner Edward and my dad Paul. Thank you. This is a really wonderful, weird surprise.
And a huge congratulations to A.K. Blakemore with The Manning Tree Witches. It is a much deserved winner, an absolutely fantastic novel, and I cannot wait to see what is going to follow on from this. If you haven't read it yet, get your mitts on it. Honestly, it's brilliant. And if tonight hasn't been enough excitement and joy, you can head over to my channel, youtube.com/Savage Reads. Savage is spelled a bit funny, Savidge Reads, where myself and AK Blakemore will be in conversation, having an after party, and we would absolutely love to see all of you there. So I need to go and get changed and get ready, but I will see you in mere moments.
Congratulations, AK. We're very excited to be celebrating your incredible book and look forward to working with you in the days and months and years to come. And congratulations to all of the winners of this year's Early Career Awards. Thank you once more to our funders, to our partners, supporters and readers without whom these prizes wouldn't be possible. And thank you to you for joining us this evening for this special celebration. We hope that you'll be inspired to read these books and follow and cheer for these writers as their wonderful careers develop.